There we go. We are live. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and all of you potential Toastmasters out there. Welcome to the show. My name is Ken Richardson. I am your Program Quality Director for District 115. My co-host today, as always, is the lovely Phyllis Truby, Distinguished Toastmaster and past District Director. Good morning, Phyllis.
Good morning, Ken, and good morning to our public out there. Don't forget, we love your comments. You'll watch Ken every once in a while, look at his second screen, and he's looking to hear from you. So please give us a comment today or anytime today, tomorrow, whatever you see this show, because your comments will be read.
Yes, they will. And today you might have some questions of our guest. Our guest today is Jack Romano. Jack is the president of Benchmark Toastmasters. Welcome to the show, Jack.
Welcome,
Thank
Jack.
you very much, Ken. It's a pleasure to be here.
We're so glad to have you. You're a fairly new Toastmaster, I understand. Tell us a little bit about your background and how you got involved in Toastmasters.
Yeah, so interesting. Toastmasters sort of found me. When I was, I guess I can say, looking all the way back in my life, I didn't have a terrible life, but I didn't have a great life either. And as I continued on through my journey in life, I've had a lot of ups and downs. And the people who kept me grounded were motivational speakers like Tony Robbins and Les Brown. And I've always looked up to Les Brown. I've always connected myself, maybe not 100% to his story, but similar in the sense of, we have these people looking or not expecting much from us, let's say. So with Les Brown, he went down these roads of trying to become a better speaker. He knew he could always speak, and I knew I could too. And I just followed that road of like, you know what? I think that Toastmasters, he was a distinguished Toastmaster. I think that's the route for me. And I'm going to go down that route. I'm going to try and better my speaking, perfect it, polish it really, and give myself a position to speak in front of people, help people, and inspire them to go after more in life.
Well, I think that's wonderful, and you chose to do that through Benchmark.
I did.
Tell us a little bit about Benchmark Toastmasters, if you would.
Yeah, I walked into Benchmark 1 year ago, back in February, actually the 29th, I believe it was, the last day of February, something like that. And I walked right in. I spoke to Paul Villaluz, who immediately drew me into that club. I felt warm. I felt invited. I felt immediately at home, and everyone there had me feeling that same sort of inspiration to get up and express myself as freely as I can, and it just felt right.
Good. Excellent. Well, I'll tell you, Benchmark is a great club, and Paul is a great guy. I've known him for a while, and I think he just does a terrific job. Now, one of the things that we were talking about a little bit before we started was some of your goals and aspirations. You wanted to be a professional speaker, is that correct?
That is correct, absolutely.
How did that come about?
Yeah, I've been in the hospitality business for the past 20, 25 years. And I was always, I would become alive in front of my guest. I learned how to talk to my guest and how to, in the beginning, it was strictly about money, but like, how could I persuade my guest to sort of, to extract money from them, right? Let's just be realistic. You're a server, you're in the hospitality business. That's what I'm doing. And I became more of like an entertainer to my tables. And people would always tell me, you should be on a stage. And so I didn't really know to what level I could see myself doing that, but I understood it. And in time, I found myself wanting to go down that road of wanting to speak more. So I ended up signing up with a Tony Robbins coaching course. I eventually became a coach of his for a very short amount of time, brief amount of time. But in that time period, I learned a few things about myself. I started learning about really like how the restaurant business helped me to be a better person in a crazy way, looking at the service of how we go through service. And what I realized is that there's a trinity in life in my own life, at least, that I have recognized to help other people. And I did it through the restaurant business. And that's simply by caring, giving focused attention to people's wants, needs, and beyond that, throughout the restaurant business, their desires, whatever else I could help with, and then serving those needs. So if, as long as I continue to care for people, give focused attention and service, then I can receive abundantly. And it no longer became about money to me. It just became about how can I help other people? And then I learned that, again, through this dynamic of trying to be a coach, but then recognizing that my gift came through the service industry. And I've been in service for my entire life. I plan on getting out of the restaurant business, but I'll always be in the service industry. And I'll always be serving people. My goals in life are to help others in ways that I had to help myself. I didn't really have anyone there for me. But what I realized something in life, again, through the restaurant, when I was very busy in the beginning, I didn't know how to form sentences to tell people I needed help with basic things like a greet or I needed water at a table, something simple. So what I would do is I would tell people to get them to go away from me. I would tell them I was fantastic. Just get out of my way. Like, I'm fantastic. So that they would just move themselves out of my way so I can go cause chaos elsewhere. But that was my way of telling people to just leave me alone. And what happened was in the past, like now 20 years, but 10 years from that moment of saying I'm fantastic every single day, just to get people to go away from me, I started hypnotizing myself. I started becoming automatically defaulting, falling into this I'm fantastic feeling of always feeling good. So even when I didn't need help, I was still I'm fantastic always. And I had this mentality continuously. And what happened is I learned later on in life that I can help myself through a lot of things just by telling myself good, positive things. And what if I got in front of other people now and really perfected, put some time and effort into writing down like a game plan of how I got myself out of my holes and how I can help other people get themselves out of those holes, and then use that trinity that I've realized is just completely circulating my life with just caring, giving focused attention, and continuously serving. You know, I'm a big fan of, I'm not a Buddhist, but I'm a big fan of Buddha. And Buddha, I've been listening to this quote for, again, the past 20 years, which is simply something about, not exact, but give unto others as much as you can and expect nothing in return. And that's where you'll find true happiness. And so as much as I continue to give and I expect nothing, and I continue to give within that trinity of caring for others, giving that focused attention to their wants and needs, and continue to serve, then I will receive abundantly. And of course, I receive abundantly by feeling great abundantly constantly, because I tell myself I'm fantastic constantly. And all these things I'm constantly saying to myself make me feel great all the time. I feel so blessed in life. I feel like I'm such one of the luckiest human beings in this world. But I realize it's because of the way I speak to myself. And if we speak to ourselves in a better way, if we are kinder to each other, what a wonderful world we would live in. And so I just want to be, you know, in many ways, a steward towards that sort of thinking.
That's a great story. Now, Phyllis, I can see you're just busting at the seams there to ask some questions. So I'm going to turn it over to you and see what questions you have of our guest today.
I'm listening to this, and I think you're absolutely right. You got to tell yourself that you are terrific, that you are the best. But do you still ask for help when you need it? Can you get that out and ask for help?
Absolutely. I'm not doing anything alone. You know, I'm grateful for all of the pitfalls that I fell into, maybe that sort of were there without me as a younger child. And I've even thanked my parents. It's crazy to say this, but I thanked my parents a few years ago for the troubles, because without those troubles, I would not have been able to get stronger. I needed those things to be there. I know my parents love me. My parents are great human beings. They just weren't, you know, there's no manual, of course, in the beginning of what you're doing with kids. And so, you know, they knew what they were taught, right? So my life wasn't terrible, but there was no guidance there. And, you know, of course, I told myself I'm fantastic. I tell myself I have everything under control. Do I really? Well, you know, sometimes.
There are days.
But we all need each other. You know, I really believe that. I believe in the power of energy. I believe in the power of thoughts. And I believe that if I surround myself with the right people, that I will be influenced by them. And of course, I want as much help as I want to give, because we're all doing this together.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We are all together. And that is one of the things that I've talked about, DTM, Distinguished Toastmaster, but DTM really means dedicated to mentoring, that what you give, you receive. And I am a true believer in that. And also, you say surround yourself with people that are going places, in my estimation, but also those people that aren't going, it's up to me to bring them up to the level and help them to get going on the goals they have in life. It is surprising how many people don't feel it. They're down, and with your energy that you have, you could bring anybody up so that they are reaching their goals. You really have a great energy, and I'm glad you're with us today.
I appreciate that, Phyllis. Thank you.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think positivity, and I know that you mentioned Tony Robbins as one of your folks that you've gone to learn, is very high on positive energy and keeping things upbeat. And I think that's an important aspect of what we do in Toastmasters, because one of our goals, of course, is to provide a supportive environment for all of our members where they can learn and grow at their own pace. And I know Benchmark has been around for a while. I don't know how many members you have. I could look that up. But I know this has been a growing club, and that it's had a number of really great leaders in the past. And you guys have something coming up you want to talk about. Is that correct,
Yes.
Jack? What's going on?
Please. Thank you, Ken. Yeah, well, for the members wise, I think we're pushing around 20. I thought we lost maybe, and then we got one or two of those back, and then we attract people. People come to this group, and hopefully we can attract some people to come to the Table Topics contest, which is what we have coming up on the 21st, Wednesday at 5:30. Generally, our meetings go from 5:30 to 6:30. The first and third Wednesday of the month. And this one is going to be a Table Topics contest. So the Table Topics will be facilitated by our VP of Education, Paul Villaluz, and he will come up with all sorts of questions that will catch us off guard, that we will be sort of impromptu to come up with something clever and hopefully something keeping people on the edge of their seats. And whoever does win that prize will win a $50 Amazon gift card. So for this prize, you do not need to be a member of Benchmark. We have a regular guest speaker who was a former member, who is perhaps going to join at a later time whenever she chooses to, but she comes in and she kills it on the Table Topics every time. And yeah, so she takes these questions and she will answer them in a way that will then allow her to redevelop the question almost to give herself the best answer she possibly can. I'm learning from her, and I plan on holding down the bottom bar while everyone else who wants to come in can take a shot at this $50.
Well, I know when we spoke earlier, you mentioned that you have quite a few experienced Toastmasters who participate in this contest, and this is your second annual, and it's going to be hybrid this year. So
it is.
Yes, that sounds great. I wish I were going to be in town because I love Table Topics. It's one of my favorite things because I think it helps you so much. You grow so much thinking on your feet. But for those of you, it is on the Facebook page. You need to RSVP at benchmarktoastmasters@gmail.com. Benchmark Toastmasters, all one word. So that's December 21st, which is a Wednesday. There's a briefing at 5 p.m. and the contest will begin at 5:30. Now, I know that where you guys meet over at the Westwood Professional Services at 5725 West Medora is an engineering firm. So you guys are very well equipped in terms of having all the equipment you need for a hybrid meeting. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. We have an additional, we're very lucky and fortunate to have this space. We have an additional area that I believe they call it the garage, and it's a large conference center, and it seats I'm not sure. I want to say around 50 people or so. So it really is a good spot to host bigger events if needed.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm going to have to call Paul about having a couple of events there. But yeah, it's a great space. And we were fortunate enough last year to have one of our contests at that space. And it just really went well. And this year, I'm going to have to call on you guys with your experience, because this is the first year. I'm going to stop sharing now. This is the first year that we will be doing hybrid contests. Now, it's not, the clubs don't have to do hybrid, but everything from the area to the division to the district, we will be doing hybrid contests this year. And this is the first year we've ever done that. So it's going to be a challenge. We purchased some equipment. I got a nice 1080p, I think it is, camera for us. Excuse me. And beginning in, let's say our first contest, our area division starts like February 25th. So it's really earlier this year. And that will culminate on May 6th with our district contest as our fiscal year comes to an end at June 30. So we're doing a lot of things at the end of the year, like our district contest and elections for officers and what have you. So all of that's coming up. And, we need to learn from one another how to work better in a hybrid environment. I think one of the things I've learned a lot about is how to work online, but I'm not quite as skilled in doing hybrid. I just haven't gotten the knack of it quite. I'm working on it. But Phyllis, I know you're in 2 clubs that do hybrid meetings, correct? Now tell me, how does that work?
And the more devices you have, it's almost the better. We have one meeting at a place that has a large wall screen, but still, which means that the members that are in person can see. But we still set up a computer on the actual, not desktop, but anyway, different views. So everybody that is online can actually see people there. And you want to turn around and talk to this big screen, but then you're turning your face on the audience and on the people that are on the Zoom, because they're actually looking directly at you when you look in the small computer at them. The other one is, say, we're taking time, we're setting up, and everything is flowing properly. It's a smaller location. The large location, I think, has a sound problem, so that's why we need more devices. Whereas in the smaller meeting room, 2 devices take care of the whole room. So you have to figure out what is good for your area and make a map.
Yeah,
put it out there so that
each
week it's set up the same. And if it doesn't work, just throw out that map, get a new one.
There's a lot of trial and error, and you're so right. And one of the things that I've heard is that if you can actually, depending on the strength of the Wi-Fi, have too much in terms of overloading the Wi-Fi in a location if you have a lot of devices. We do have some questions here on Facebook. Let me get to this. So we want to say good morning to Carol Wayman. Carol, how are you this morning? She is in Washington, D.C. And let's see. First of all, she says, thank you, Jack, for talking about Benchmark, how it attracts guests and new members. She also says, I didn't know we could have financial prizes. I thought we only got trophies. Well, that's true at the district level, Carol. We only give out trophies, but certainly clubs that want to have events as the one that Benchmark is having, that's really their choice. And then one of the questions she has here that I'm going to throw out to the 2 of you, she wants to know, what are some strategies that you have to help people connect in a hybrid format? It's really tough for people online to feel connected to people in the room sometimes. it's odd to give a speech to your screen with no one's face to see. And then when you're done, that's it. Very little feedback or support. So what strategies, I'll throw it open to Jack and Phyllis, do you have for helping people connect in a hybrid format? Jack, let's start with you, and then we'll go to Phyllis.
Sure. Thank you, Ken. I don't feel that we have any issues with the members on or even our guests on the Zoom call. Everyone seems to be taken from it very, very well. I personally always show up. I like to be in person, but what we do is very similar to Phyllis. We have a laptop on the table on the desk. It's facing the lectern, so therefore, whoever's in front of the lectern is being you're seeing that individual there. Whenever there, yes, there is a screen behind us as well, and so if you are in the Zoom call, you don't necessarily see everyone sitting at the table. We do have another. We have a Zoom call on the phone, so we take our phone and then someone faces that towards the audience, I guess you can say, everyone that's in the actual meeting. Okay, so with that being said, I understand that if you're sitting in the Zoom call and you're at home and you're on a Mac or whatever, and you're speaking into your Mac or your laptop, and the only people you're going to see is whoever is on the other call, the other members. Once that is over, we still give our evaluation. The evaluation can either be from someone who's sitting at as well at home, or they could be from someone who is at the meeting. And we deliver the same sort of, it's a little different, I guess, because if you're standing in front of, you're giving a speech, part of the evaluation is, did you look into the camera? Because not only are you staring or looking around the room, but now you have to look into this camera because you have to engage with the people who are in the call. When you're doing it the opposite way, I guess, yeah, you're only looking at a camera. You're not really, I have not noticed any of the members noticing or feeling in any way that they don't feel comfortable with it. If anything, I feel that they maybe feel more comfortable because therefore they're not in front of people. They don't have the jitters of standing in front of people. So they kind of have a little protection by sitting behind that sort of screen. I think it's much worse being in front, right? I mean, even right now, this is much easier, I feel. But as for like the evaluation part, we definitely encourage our members constantly, and I think that it works really well for us. And I would not be surprised if one of our if the winner came from a Zoom call from the Zoom, because it delivers so well. We also have a speaker in our room so that it picks up our voice easier and it delivers their voice easier as well. So we can hear each other better.
Yeah, having good technology, particularly a good camera, good speakers, that's important. Phyllis, do you have any other tips for making the hybrid meeting feel more inclusive so that your online people don't feel isolated?
Well, I think it comes down to setup, trial, and error. I have been in a room where I thought in person, as I did not connect with the people that were online. Our setup now for Holistic is that they do have a device that faces out to the audience. So in one of your little square Zoom boxes is the audience. And so when you speak on Zoom, you can see the reaction to those that are in the room. It's small, so you're seeing about 6 people at one time or more, but you still can see some reaction, some movement, some shaking of the head. So if it's, something that should respond to a no shaking, you can see that going on. So you see more reactions from your audience. So I would say that it's definitely a plus to have your audience in one of those squares so that the Zoom people can see them and know they're out there and that they are talking to someone.
Yeah, I think that's a real good tip for our listeners, and for maybe that answers Carol's question to some degree. If you are on Zoom and you can see the audience and see their reactions, I think that is a real plus. And you're right, having two, the way I've done it before is with two laptops, one that faces the lectern, so the speaker, and then the other faces the audience. Of course, you're right, it is small, and under more ideal circumstances, and I think Benchmark might have this, is a couple of those big screen TVs that you can connect to your laptop. Is that right, Jack? Don't you guys have that?
I know right now what we have is we have the big screen TV that's directly behind the speaker. So when we are all sitting down, we can all see the TV and see the people on the Zoom. But the Zoom call, yeah, what we are using right now is a phone, and we are facing it towards. So you know what? That's a very good point that Phyllis is saying too. It's you have like 6 people. Sometimes the room's busy, and there's might be 10 or 15. You know, we're not actually. Maybe there's 20 of us total with the Zoom. Okay, so, but if there's 12 or 15 people in that room, and you're looking through the phone. It would make sense if we got something more advanced, you know, if we had some sort of an actual camera set up.
Well, you know, the thing is about having sort of been forced into an online environment, and then now a hybrid environment, is that we have the opportunity to experiment and to try new things and see what works and what doesn't work. Well, we've got about 4 minutes left, so I wanted to see if there's any final message you'd like to give to our audience, Jack.
Oh, I mean, I guess the main thing is if you are not a Toastmaster member, go to a meeting, or just go, because it's so much fun. I love it personally. I mean, you're gonna, once you get into that pathways and you start making your run towards those speeches, you get through a few of them, or you get past that third one, and it's just, you coast from there. I really feel that way. I mean, I've stumbled badly, but I couldn't wait to get back up. So to me, it's just enjoy yourself, have fun, and really it's you're polishing your speaking. It cannot hurt you. The only thing it can do is benefit you.
Absolutely. And I couldn't agree with you more. We all stumble along the way, but that's part of the learning process. We learn from that. Phyllis, do you have any final thoughts you want to share with our audience?
I want to go over the contest one more time.
Okay.
It's open to all Toastmasters, correct?
It's open to everyone. You do not need to be a Toastmaster member at all. We, especially for the table topics, we make that open to all of our guests. We ask them in the beginning if they're interested in speaking, and if they are, then they might be chosen to come up and speak. And of course, that speech is anywhere up to 2 minutes, anywhere from 1 minute to 2 minutes, and it's for anyone, and anyone can win the $50 Amazon gift card.
All right, then the next comment is that there was a reservation ID there. So people that want to be contestants should not just walk in at 5 o'clock and think that they can go to the content briefing. They need to register, tell you that they are going to be a contestant, and be there about 4:45 so that you're there for the briefing. The next comment I would make is please come out. See what it's like, because you're true. Everybody has their own ideas and can answer a question. Are we limited to the amount of contestants that you can take?
As of right now, not that I know of. So in my opinion, let's get as many people signed up as possible.
All right, 20 people out there. Let's go and see what it's all about.
Yes.
As I say, you all can answer a question. Everybody has an answer, whether it's correct or not. You know, it doesn't have to be the truth. It's table topics.
Exactly. And as I said, I love it. And to register, send an email to benchmarktoastmasters@gmail.com. and they will then respond and get you connected. Do want to remind everyone that Wake Up with Toastmasters is on Monday through Friday. On Tuesdays, Phyllis and I are the host, and then on Mondays and Fridays, our District Director, Gene Williams, is the host. On Wednesdays, our PRM, Jennifer Smith, is the host. So if you're interested in being a part of Wake Up with Toastmasters, you see my email there on the screen, krichardson@gmail.com. Just send me an email. We'd love to have you come talk about your club, talk about your Toastmasters journey, particularly if you have something coming up that you would like to promote, an event like a Table Topics Contest. We're moving into the holiday season, but nevertheless, I understand that game night is still going to occur on December 30th, the last Saturday of the month, as per usual. So if you're interested in that, check the newsletter for a registration link. And if you can't find your copy of the newsletter or you didn't get it, just go to our website, e115tm.org, and look for the page, and all of the newsletters are archived on the page, and you can find the link. Let's see, did I forget anything? We have a TLI coming up on January 7th. That's going to be a Zoom TLI. A flyer has gone out. If you didn't get that, let me know. And then we'll have an in-person TLI on January 21st. And that's going to be at the East Las Vegas Library. I think that covers it. Did I forget anything, Phyllis?
I think you covered it all, other than Scott Transu and
all
I
right.
are
Well, thank
here
everyone
on
for
Thursday.
watching. And if you're watching later, oh, that's right. You're here on Thursday with Scott. I almost forgot Scott. See, I haven't had my second cup of coffee, so I'm not functioning. But
Hopefully,
on Thursday,
this week we will have Phyllis Wall as a guest.
excellent.
So come and
So
see
Phyllis
what she has
Wall
to say.
is the Division C director,
Correct.
a very lovely lady, very involved in Toastmasters. So I would encourage everyone to be here on Thursday when Phyllis and Scott will be your hosts. So have a great week, everyone, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Jack.
Thank you. It's been a
Jack.
pleasure.